Many of you are already aware of a space station management sim with some major Frostpunk vibes. Yes, we're talking about Ixion, the new game that will not be released until 2022. Fans have been very excited about it, especially after seeing the gameplay. In the teaser, we saw some crazy things, like the moon blowing up, but believe it or not, it's not the worst thing that can happen in space station sim Ixion. This new game is definitely good news to all the gamers around the world. This game shows us the surreal reality where the future of mankind keeps evolving in a space station sim, as the Earth is no longer habitable because of pollution, global warming, and so on. This kind of reality is very intriguing for fans. Based on the game, everything should go according to the plan, right? But there is a major plot twist. You accidentally blow up the moon. From that point, gamers will have the opportunity to manage the colony on the space station by themselves. The first half hour of Ixion serves as a teaser and a tutorial of the game. It also prepares us for even more exciting events. We learn in the first half of the gameplay that the main goal is to explore the galaxy, while at the same time try to survive the obstacles the universe has to offer. As a captain of the station, you'll be faced with making very hard decisions, trying to manage the whole population rather than a crew, maintaining the hull integrity, providing the supply lines, controlling the power supply, and also strategizing additional structures like laboratories for scientific experiments and crew quarters. If blowing up the moon did not already sound extreme enough, there are even worse things going on in this game. Whilst managing the huge space station with its population, things quickly go from bad to worse, to literally unbelievable. In the game, you will also have a data listening service. It will eavesdrop on the crew, so they are strictly controlled. It does sound pretty futuristic, but no wonder, as we are talking about the era of mega corporations that are able to afford their personal space stations. There will also be a direct communication between you and the crew, so they tell you about their needs, like more housing, more preventative measures to deal with injuries at the workplace, and many other basic requirements. Keeping this kind of interaction is crucial in the game to keep the peace. You will also have to build the enormous Vol engine that will be needed to travel to distant places, like other solar systems, so humanity finds a new place to stay and thrive as a community. Here's when the unexpected accident happens. When the engine catches a fire for the first time, some error takes place, and the moon is shattered, which instantly gives us the dramatic plot twist in the game. From an exploratory venture, now you are all about grabbing to the last hope and somehow saving humanity. While watching Ixion teaser videos, fans were able to see in more detail the inside of the space station. There are some buildings you'll have to arrange in the station. There are also farms you'll need to manage to make your food for your people. When you start playing the game, you only have one sector of the station. As you go on with the game, you'll be able to unlock more sectors. What's more, you'll have to make sure the Vol engine is in perfect shape so you prevent shattering other moons while traveling through different solar systems. As we already mentioned, this game has some strong Frostpunk vibes. Despite the fact that instead of being on Earth, you're in space, you're still portrayed as the last hope for humanity, as you need to find the most habitable place for your people. You will constantly face problems like shortages of resources. Traveling through different solar systems, you will encounter many locations, discover innovative technology, and even find frozen astronauts inside cryogenic pods and add to your crew. As we already mentioned, the communication between you and the captain and the crew is very important, because if the crew does not agree with any of your decisions, they're capable of removing you from your position, and you lose the game. Does it remind you of anything? The situation is quite similar to how you are thrown out on Tundra in Frostpunk if citizens decide to go against you. There's one more thing that's quite familiar to Frostpunk. The fact that when you charge up the engine before jumping to a new star system takes so much energy, the ship becomes drained and is in blackout position for a couple of minutes. Because of that, you as the captain are forced to scramble to keep everything on a very limited energy until the engine fires again. It looks a lot like those moments in Frostpunk, when during the harsh blizzards in the city, you had to hold your breath in order to prevent the adverse effects. You had to stay in that position for a couple of minutes until the new resources were gathered. It's not just a coincidence. Frostpunk indeed was an inspiration for Ixion. Here's what Emmanuel Monroe, who is a co-creator of Bulwark Studios, says about this matter. "We were quite big fans of what Frostpunk did to the genre, how they merged the narrative with the core experience, and from the beginning, that was something we wanted to experiment on. One of the things I really love about Ixion, that kind of takes note from Frostpunk as well, is that you have multiple different screens that you'll be looking at throughout the game," explains Christian Wolford, who is product manager manager at Casino Games. It won't just be the inside of the station all the time. You'll have solar maps to explore, an external system of mining and science ships to explore and navigate, sending out probes and such. So it's not just a locked experience inside just the station. You may also find it quite intriguing that the destruction of the moon is not the only major problem gamers will be facing. When the above-mentioned engine caught fire for the first time, instead of traveling through space, the ship actually drove through time. Appearing a couple of decades in the future sounds like another issue. So many questions left unanswered. What happened to Earth or other solar systems while you were traveling through time? What went wrong with the engine in the first place? Well, the mysterious adventure of searching for answers is only about to start. Some of you may be wondering about the meaning behind the title Ixion. Well, let us see what this Wikipedia says about it. Ixion is the fiendishly wicked king of the Lapiths from Greek mythology. In an attempt to seduce Hera, he was tricked by Zeus into making love to a cloud instead, from which was born Centaurus, the founder of the race of centaurs. Ixion's eternal punishment for his audacity and complete disrespect for both humanity and the gods was to be tied to an ever-spinning wheel of fire in Hades. Before we finish our video, let's discuss some of the other games that are similar to Ixion. The game Oxygen, not included, belongs to this category of games. This is a space colony simulation game that was developed by Cly Entertainment and released in 2019. While playing Oxygen not included, you're able to manage your own duplicates, help them do their hard work like dig, build, and generally maintain the asteroid base. However, this game is not as easy as it seems. In order to stay functional and alive, your duplicates need to have water, food, and of course, oxygen. The final similar game to Ixion we will talk about is Surviving Mars. This is a city-building simulation video game that was initially created by Haimimont Games, which is the Bulgarian studio, and later by Abstraction Games. Everything is happening on Mars. The gamer has to choose a sponsoring nation, which he controls and develops throughout the game. The main goal of a player is to create a colony on Mars, with limited resources, which makes the player bring some things from Earth, and also implant those resources on Mars, considering the challenge of a completely different environment. Players must also consider that expanding the colony also requires a lot of oxygen, which is very limited on Mars. So this game is very much about balancing population with oxygen, water, food, and some replacement parts. This game also includes tasks named mysteries that are additional events to the colony, including war, alien contact, plagues, rival corporations, and many others. It is also interesting that rare metals can be exported back to Earth in exchange for funds. The game also has various natural disasters like meteor storms, dust storms, cold gases, and dust devils to increase difficulty. Here's what we read on Paradox Interactive that published the game. Surviving Mars is a sci-fi settlement builder all about colonizing Mars and surviving the process. Choose a space agency for resources and financial support before determining a location for your colony. Build domes and infrastructure, and utilize drones to unlock more elaborate ways to shape and expand your settlement. Are you ready? Mars is waiting for you. On this note, we end our video. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.